All right, we're going to look at another way to enhance your animation, and it's called the graph editor. And when you first start using it, it may be a little confusing, but I want to show it to you now and get you used to looking at it and editing it, because it's going to allow your animations to look much more professional. And I'm going to show you how to activate it, how to use it, how to turn it on, etc. So let's go and let's look at that. So we've created this animation, and we used Easy Ease and we used motion blur, and that made the animation work really nicely. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go into another tool called the graph editor. So I'm going to select these two position keyframes, and then I'm going to click on this little button here, which brings up my graph editor. And if I don't see I'm looking at the graph editor, but if I want, I can click on this little button that says choose graph type and options, and you'll see that there's a value graph, an edit speed graph, and a reference graph, and we want the edit speed graph option available. And so you can see that what this is it's showing us how the animation is ramping up. Let me give you an example. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to take that Easy Ease off by selecting those two keyframes and then control clicking. And then I'm going to select those two keyframes again, turn on that graph editor, make sure it's set to speed graph, and you'll see that the motion of that object is a straight line that's moving exactly the same across those frames. And what I want is I want it to have some sort of a speed as it moves. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to select those keyframes again. I'm going to right click. I'm going to choose Keyframe Assistant Easy Ease. Now I'm going to go in and click on my graph editor. And I'm in the graph editor. Now what I can do is I can click on these keyframes and I can change how these, so this is the end keyframe and the beginning keyframe. If I click and drag this like this, I'm ramping that animation up. So if I set it to something like this, you see it's going to fly in slower as it gets to that end point, right? I'll drag it back, and let's look at the other one. I'm going to grab it and drag it the other way. I'll drag it this way. So now it's going to come in really fast. Let's take a look. So it's going to come in, woo, right? So when you do that, it gives the animation a little bit more agency. It's more exciting. It's a little bit more, it makes it have a little bit more pop. A lot of times what you can do is just drag it to where it's in the center like this, so that both points are edited like so. And then when you play it, it's going to, whoo, right? So those are some ways that I can use that graph editor to modify the speed of the animation and further advance the easy easing, or the motion as it slides in. It moves in quickly, it moves out slowly, and that is my graph editor.